Welcome to CC Fashion. In this video, you're going to learn how to make this beautiful piece over here. If that is what you're interested in, kindly hit on the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell as we move right into the video. To start with, you just need your pattern paper and you mark 2 inches from the waist region as you can see. Then you draw it. This 2 inches is going to serve as the high waist allowance. Then go ahead and mark your crotch depth. Mine is 10 inches and I'm marking my knee point at 21 inches. Then my full length at 42 inches. Then I'll repeat the markings on 2 ends so as to have a straight line. After marking it, I'll go ahead and draw the lines out. Here is my high waist, my crotch depth, and my knee line, my full length, and my hemming allowance. So I'll go ahead and mark my hips measurements. A quarter of my hips is 10.5. Then I'll draw a straight line after marking it on 2 point. I'll add my crotch extension of 1.5 and I'll divide what I have by 2. Then take away half inch and whatsoever I have there, I'll mark it as my center point across the pattern. That's my midpoint. So when I'm done with the midpoint, the next thing is to start from my knee. I will mark half of my knee measurements. This is going to be a little bit free. So I'm marking 10 inches. So I'm going to repeat that on the hemline. Then I'll go ahead and connect it from the hemline to the knee points, just as you can see, to form a straight line. Then after that, I'm going to connect whatsoever I have from my knee points to my crotch depth, and I'll make sure that the ruler is placed in a way that it will be a little bit curvy, and also from the knee to my crotch front part of it. Then I'll go ahead and measure 2 inches up. Then I'll curve my front crotch. So after that, the next thing is to come up here and mark my slope. Just as you can see, it's 1 inch. I'll go ahead and cut it before I shape my waist. So I'm going to pick up the scissors now and cut it all around. So after cutting, I will locate my midpoint here and go ahead and impute my dart. My dart depth for the front is 5 inches. So I'll draw a straight line up to my waist area and take out half of an inch on the normal waist and connect it that way to the normal waist. That's the low waist. Then I'll connect it straight to the upper waist. By so doing, you have your normal measurement. Then I'll go ahead and also shape my waist. Then I'll mark quarter of my waist plus half inch allowance, that's his allowance. Then I'll curve it down to my hips point. So I'm checking where my hips point is at the moment, and then I'll curve it to my normal waist. That 1 inch should be at my upper waist and at my lower waist. Just take note of this trick so as to have it right. Then from my normal waist, I'll take it straight down. You can see how the shape is. Honestly, when you're making your high waist trousers, don't fail to do this because this is the professional way of making it. So I'm done for the front. I'm going to place it on the fabric and draw the back parts. From the crotch side, I'm going to raise my waist by 2 inches. I'm sorry that you're unable to see where I mark it. Just basically 2 inches upward from that place. And I'm going to slant it to the normal waist at this other side. So it is only going to be raised at the crotch side, and this other side will maintain the same shape by the side of the pant. So I'm just connecting the line there. Note also that I place the pattern in such a way that I have 1 inch by the side of the trousers, and that is going to serve as my seam allowance, since I'm going to add seam allowance on both the front and the back panel. So I'm going to check where my hips point is at this point, then I extend it forward by half inch. Take note of this when you're drafting the back panel. So you just slant the line from that half inch to meet up with your normal waist of half inch inward. I don't know if I'm making sense with what I'm saying. That means you slant it out there by half inch, and you also slant it at the waist part inward by half inch, then you connect the line. I really feel sorry that you couldn't see what is happening at the upper part of it. Then coming to the knee line, from the knee point, I'm going to check what I have, the distance from the knee to my crotch depth. So I'm taking note of that. It's 11 inches. Then I'll also make sure that I pull the tape, just as you can see, to mark it at 11 inches at this point, so as to have a matching line. If you don't do it like that, you may not get it. Then I'll mark 4 inches from this point here. Then if you want your pants not to be going inward when you're rocking it, just make sure that you use a curve ruler and make sure that it is very curvy at the back. The crotch should be curvy at the back. So anyhow you're going to bring out the curve, just do so. And this is how I do mine, to make it curvy at the back panel, to avoid it going inside when I am wearing the clothes. Moving forward, I'm going to connect the line from the knee using this dotted line to the crotch like so. Then I'll make sure that I confirm the measurements, and then I'll connect it with a hips curve ruler. Then after that, I will go ahead and cut out that part. Now that I'm done cutting, I'm going to add 1 inch to this side. That's my seam allowance. Remember that I said I'm going to add seam allowance, then I'll cut it out. So if I intended not to add 1 inch for the front panel, I would rather add 2 inches at the back panel, but I want to add allowance in both the front and the back. So that's my back panel. I'm done with that. Let's move over to the front panel. Now at the front panel, I'm going to cut out my waist. Remember, I did not cut it out because I allowed that to be there because I used it as my dart allowance for the back panel. Okay, so I'm going to first of all locate my hips point. That's my hips point. After that, I would measure about 2 inches upward like so, and then I would draft my cuff using a dotted lines. Then when I'm done, I make sure that the curve meets up with my mid line. So I'm going to smoothen it out. I will draw it out with my hips curve ruler following my dotted lines. Then I'll cut. When I'm done cutting, I will now indicate the allowances that I'm going to add in each side of the pants. Then I'll place it on the material. After indicating the allowances, I'll place it on the material like so, add the allowances, and then cut it out. When you are doing this, you really need to be precise when you are cutting and when you are stitching. If not, it will turn out to be something else. Ensure that you add 1 inch on this other side, this other end that will overlap each other. Just add 1 inch, while the other side you may add half inch. Okay, at this point I'm done cutting the other part, and this other side also I've added all the measure allowances, and this is what I got. So this is how it's going to overlap. You can see it's already giving. So at this point, if you've not yet subscribed, do well to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell. Then like this video, share it to as many people as possible. Did you know that your comments really matters a lot to me? Please do not deny me of this. Let's move right into the sewing aspect of it. This session is going to be a highlight on how I went about making the outfit. I have already cut the lining and I've already turned it with the lining. Then I have ironed it out and I am here putting the pieces together that I had in the front panel because this is what is going to guide me. So just do so. I believe that if you are advanced, you don't have difficulty in doing this. So these are the pieces and you can see how I turn it and I iron out the remaining part of it. So, and I have used lining fabric to turn it. This is just to make my work neat and presentable. So I'm picking out one part first. So I'm going to arrange it on my pattern paper to ensure that I have precisely what I have on the pattern paper. If you arrange it and you don't have exactly what you have on the pattern paper, that means you are not in order. So this is how I assemble my pieces after turning it up. This is how I assemble my pieces. So I'll put it on the pattern paper and arrange it to make sure that it matches the pattern paper very well, just as you can see. So at this point I have arranged it, and as I'm arranging it, I'm checking with my pattern paper to ensure that I have it all correct. So this is how it's going to be, and you've seen the seam allowances that I left over. So I'm now going to use pins to hold it down together. I'm going to just hold it down with pins. After that, I'll top stitch round, and when I'm done, I am going to place the other side on it like this. See, I've top stitched this one already. Then I'll go ahead and arrange the second one, the second side on top of the first one, following the guide that I have there. And after arranging it, I will still use pins to hold it down. After holding it down, I'm going to go ahead and top stitch it. This is how you get it right. You make sure that it follows the pattern. Make sure that everything aligns, just as you can see, to give you a professional work. So if you don't do it this way, you may have end up having one part of your pants, one side being bigger than the other side, or a kind of disorganized pants. So really follow details, because that's what matters in doing any professional work. So I'm just going to pin it down just as I did the first one, and I top stitch the same way. After pinning, just go ahead and top stitch it. Then thereafter you continue sewing it up as you would do in your normal pants. Then you embellish it with your buttons. I don't want the video to be too long, so we're going to stop here. Let me quickly show you how it looks like when you are finished stitching it up. You can see that overlap there, and you can see the slit. It came out so beautiful, and you give it a good press, you will like the result. So guys, this is how far we can go for this video. So at the end of the day, it came out so beautiful. You can see how classy it looked. Do you want to see or know or learn about how I went about making this design at the waist here? Kindly leave a comment, then I'll put you through. It was a couple outfit, so I have also made a tutorial on how I went about making this man's outfit. So if you're interested in it, click on the video on the screen here to see how I went about making this design, or check the link in the description box. You will see how I went about making it. Thank you guys for staying tuned. From me, it's a bye bye for now.